Hi all, welcome to part 5, module 2, logic system design. So, module 2 we are discussing about Boolean algebra, right? So, what we've seen so far is some of the important postulates of ordinary algebra, then we moved to Boolean algebra and we saw how it is different from ordinary algebra and what about its similarity and all those things. Then we saw a very special case of Boolean algebra, that is two-valued Boolean algebra, which is a switching algebra, and we saw it is being defined with so Boolean algebra in general it is an algebraic structure with two operation plus and dot, and when it comes to switching algebra, we specifically define this set to be a set of 0 and 1, and this plus the OR operation, we given a meaning for this operator plus, that is conveyed by the OR operation, and this dot we given the interpretation of AND operation. Okay, hope it is clear now. And accordingly we saw the important postulates also. Now here this table summarizes important postulates as well as some of the new theorem that the proof and all we are going to see, which are important for us. So where this thing is used, so that is another important area. So given any something I discussed already, like we will be having a very complex expression, right? So whenever we want to implement something, some circuit design we need. So initially the idea that will come to our mind is somewhat complex, right? Somewhat bigger equation we will derive, like for a given circuit this could be the way it will be working, like that we will think. Then we will understand that there are many things that we can minimize as well as optimize, and finally you will get a very reduced form of the given Boolean algebraic expression. So that is the next topic we are going to discuss, and that time these theorems and postulates are going to help you for minimization of a bigger Boolean algebraic expression. Maybe the same thing you saw in propositional logic also, like the conjunctive normal form, distinctive normal form, then its minimization, that kind of things. Okay, if you don't know, leave it. So that thing we are going to see. So these theorems and formula postulates, they should be there in your mind. Somewhere you have to by heart them. Let me tell you like that. By heart in the sense, if you can keep them in your mind, then it is very easy. Whenever any expression is coming, you can think of which can be applied and you can directly go with that. Okay, so we will understand and we will so after understanding automatically you will remember. You don't have to by heart. Okay, if I'm using that word, you may be, some people may not be comfortable. Okay, but anyways, ultimately it should be there in your brain, so keep that in mind. So this is a very important table, right? So this summarizes all the important theorems and postulates that we will use in a rest of our discussion. So any of the theorem that will come at any point in the future, you should remember. So that is the requirement. Okay, so this is something postulate 2 5, those things maybe. So hope you remember we discussed some 6 postulates of Boolean algebra, and that numbering they are giving. So this table I taken from the textbook. So wherever they are giving this 2 5, this numbering they are using throughout the discussion, but we will see, instead of using numbering and all, what is it, accordingly I will write. Okay, so now you can recollect it. What is postulate 2? It was like x plus 0 is equal to x and x dot 1 is equal to x. It's a very very important rule that we will use for simplification. So simplification is where this table will find application. Simplification of any Boolean algebraic expression. Okay, so these formulas we will use. So can you tell me what is this law? So it is something like what is this 0 and what is this 1? This is the identity element, right? For plus 0 is the identity, because you, after performing addition with 0 you are getting x. Similarly multiplication in the sense and operation with 1 you are getting x itself, right? So that is a requirement for an identity element. So remember, postulates 2 is actually you don't have to remember the number, that is my opinion. You can remember that identity law, like that, something like identity law. So this is identity law. As per identity law, x plus 0 is equal to x and x dot 1 is equal to 1. If you can remember that way, it is very good. Okay, and 0 is the identity of plus and 1 is the identity of dot. Okay, you know why it is so. Now the second thing is postulate 5. Let's see what it says. X plus x dash is equal to 1 and x dot x dash is equal to 0. So those who observed the previous, who remember the previous video lectures, you can see that this is nothing but the complement law, right? Let me give a name. So for your convenience, I am giving this. I am calling it as a complement law. Oh, okay. Let's call it like that in later on wherever it is coming. Say any element plus its complement is going to give you 1. What is 1? It is identity element of dot. You are getting it like cross, right? Instead of inverse, existence of inverse in ordinary algebra, here we have a complement and complement law, right? And another part or the equivalent one in dot, it is like x dot x dash is equal to 0. So you can remember, like, so complement law, this is complement law. So wherever x plus x dash is coming, simply replace it with 1. That is the meaning. So now it is the right side is a simplification part. Left side I am having this something like x plus 0, right? Immediately replace it with the x. That should come in your mind automatically. Okay, so that is a requirement we are having. Now we are introducing a new theorem that we didn't see so far. So now you can directly understand it like this, and you can verify. See, all these things you can verify with the help of truth table. So that is the simplest way of verifying the correctness of each of these theorem as well as postulates, right? You can simply take x and dot operation with the same x. You can see that the result is also x. Similarly, x dot x is equal to x. No, not only this, this will repeat like x plus x plus x plus any number, right? That will always be x. Similarly, x dot x dot x dot x dot x dot any number of x I can put. So this is something called a idempotency. I mean, for the same over the same element, if I am repeating the operation again and again, I am not getting something new. The same element itself is repeating again and again. So that property in general is what is called idempotency. So let me call it as idempotent law. Okay, so I'm calling it as idempotent law. We can remember like this. So the first one is identity law, then we have the complement law, now we have the idempotent law. Okay, clear. So it's not only here, and sometimes in other situation also you can see whether an operator here, the or operator is having the idempotency. That is why it is showing like this, and also having it. Okay, similar. Now another theorem. The theorem is like x plus 1 is equal to 1. This also you can verify. So what is x plus 0? As per identity law, you know that it is x. Now you may be wondering what will be x plus 1. You can see that it is 1. So here you can see that x can be anything, 0 or 1. Whatever it is, when you perform this plus operation or operation with 1, that 1 will dominate. Whether x is 0 or whether x is a variable, right? X is 1. The result is always 1. So 1 is dominating. The entire expression is dominated by 1, and I am getting the result as 1. Similarly, when it comes to dot, the entire expression is dominated by 0, and I am getting the result as 0. So I can call it as something like a dominance law. These names are not used in your textbook, but it is good to remember it like this. Okay, in some other textbook it is used. If you are focusing on Morris Mano, they are not using the names as it is. Sometimes they are using the de Morgan absorption. Those things, yeah, they are naming, but these things they are not naming. But anyway, you can remember in your own way. The thing is like whenever you are getting some sub expression like x plus 1, you should immediately able to write it as 1. The 1 will dominate the entire thing. Something like that. Hope it is clear. You can verify with the truth table also. Now there is something called involution law, or a kind of double negation, right? The negation of negation. 2 times I am taking negation, double negation or double complement. Complement is nothing but the not operation, right? Negation. So I have a variable x, I am taking its negation, and this is the complement of x, right? Complement, negation, both are same. Okay, and I am taking its negation again, you will get the x back, right? Because what is complement of 0? 0 complement. Let's take an example. 0 complement is 1, you know, right? And if I am taking its complement again, what I will get? The insert part, inner part is like 0 complement. So this is not 1, okay? Don't get confused with it. 0 complement, something like this, and it's complement like that. So inner part I am getting it as 1, and then what is this complement? I am getting 0 back. So the same 0 I am getting, right? You can see this. So when I am taking complement and it's on complement again, I will get the original element. So that is double negation or involution law. Then commutative law is known to everyone. X plus y, wherever it is, you can simply write it, change the order like y plus x, x dot y, y dot x, like that. Okay. Now associative law also clear to you by this time. The parenthesization, that you can either group this y and z and do it first. or you can do x and y together, so both will give you the same answer. For or this or operation, this is true. Okay, see, in subtraction and all we saw that the decimal subtraction, this is not true, right? But in or operation it is true, and operation also it is true, keep that in mind, right? Then distributive law, you can distribute this dot over plus as well as you can distribute plus over dot, both are correct, keep that in mind. Okay, now there is something called De Morgan's law. This is very very important one. Again, hopefully you might know this from proportional logic. Same thing only, right? Maybe there you might studied it like this, or x or y, the whole complement. I don't know whether this symbol or this symbol, some symbol you might have used, and then you know it is negation of x and negation of y. So when I'm performing complement of a bigger expression, this individual terms will get complemented and this or become and, like that you can remember. If you are comfortable with it, simply come to this or you can replace with a plus, and this negation is complement, right? And this and is your dot. Okay, or if you are not okay, let it be there. If you are not comfortable with it, you can now remember it like so. When I'm doing x plus y the whole complement, this plus become dot. Okay, right in between, and if nothing is written, that means the dot is sitting in between. Okay, and individual terms are getting complemented, so typically we call it as a literal, something like that. Okay, that time we will see later. So that each and every individual variable or literal, whatever it is, that thing is getting complemented, and this plus is get becoming dot. This is something you can generalize also this way, right? What I am saying is, suppose I am having three variable x plus y plus z, the complement will be equal to x complement dot y complement dot z complement. Okay, maybe we will see its proof and all, and then we can understand. So this is something right now you can remember, and see all of them you can simply prove using truth table, but we will see a very nice way of proving it other than truth table. Okay, so the method we are going to study will be more interesting for you, but you have to give some attention. Truth table is something, some straightforward approach, right? So you are putting 0 and 1 and you are proving, that is very easy. But you know, exam point of view, it is always better to do avoid truth table whenever possible. Okay, whether they are asking, sometimes they will ask specifically without using truth table, prove it. Otherwise also it is not recommended to use truth table, because that is very very straightforward approach. So what technique I will be going to discuss, that you focus clearly. It's very easy actually. Any complicated expression you will simplify without using truth table. And truth table also you can't depend, if it is more than 3 variable or something, that many entries you have to write, it will become tedious actually. For 2 variable or 1 variable it is fine, but still it is not recommended, because that will not improve your aptitude, this what I can say, this aptitude skills and all. So I mean, simply your brain is not using, right? 0 1 you are substituting and you are doing it. But if you are approaching it in a different logical way, that will improve your logical thinking capability. Okay, so we will see that. Now another important theorem is again the last one, absorption law. Okay, that also we will use many times. So if I have an expression like x plus x dot y, see this x is repeating, that you have to keep in mind, then plus and dot, like that it is coming, the entire expression will be reduced to just x. So this x is absorbing everything else, like that you can remember, right? It is absorbing, just like this one is dominating the entire expression, here this x is absorbing y also. Here the presence of x is simply, I mean, dominated by 1, something like that. Here what happened is, this x is absorbing the entire expression, and it is reduced to this same way. This plus converted to dot and dot converted to plus, same thing will happen. Now you can observe something, where for every theorem we have an a part and a b part, right? Can you see something between these two? You can see everywhere a part, how a part is changed to b part, right? This plus is getting changed to 1. That is the first change you have to observe. Plus, wherever I am having plus, this b part, plus is getting changed to dot. Everywhere, right? See, everywhere, everywhere. So here also, here instead of that, here I have a dot, right? Everywhere it is happening. Similarly, see this x, this plus, both of them are changed to dot, right? See, this is an important observation. So what is happening here? Everywhere from A part to, so every theorem is having an A part and B part, right? Maybe 4 plus and dot. So from A part, how can I reach B part? Simply change this plus with the, how can I write, plus change it to dot. Also, wherever dot is coming from B part to A part, how can you come back? Dot you change with the plus, right? Dot change it to plus, like that. So that is one thing. Anything else is happening from A part to B part, wherever, see, 0 is coming and other side it is 1. Wherever 1 is coming, other side it is 0. Wherever 1 is coming, other side it is 0. Wherever 1 is coming, other side it is 0, right? So, two things are happening here. Let me erase all. Okay. So, wherever plus is coming, that is getting changed to dot. So, this is on transformation I am having. Plus is getting changed to dot, and also wherever 0 is coming, that is getting changed to 1. Right, in both direction and vice versa, like a plus change it to dot and dot place change it to plus, 0 change it to 1 and 1 change it to 0, and there is nothing else happening. See, all the remaining things remain same, like this x is retaining as x, this x complement, that also retaining as x complement, right? The variable or its negation, those things are not changing, and even this bracket, that is retaining as it is, right? Nothing else is changing. Only two things are happening. Plus is changed to dot and dot is changed to plus. 0 is changed to 1 and 1 is changed to 0. Accordingly, what we are getting is called, so left side I have an expression. From that expression, I am getting another valid expression on the right side by changing plus to dot and dot to plus. Also by changing 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. Just do the opposite. And the other side expression is what we call it as a dual. So keep this in mind. So let me write neatly. Okay. So we will see that. So what is dual of a expression? Suppose I have a Boolean algebraic function. So we already seen that this function, when I am giving some value for this x, y, z, it is evaluating to 0 or 1. So it is, I can visualize it as a function, the normal mathematical function, right? So I have a function of variables, say x, y, right? And also in that function I have this plus, I have this dot, I have 0, I have 1, I have this many things I am having. Okay, maybe for more clarity, let me write. Sometimes I may be having complement of x, sometimes I have complement of y also, right? And in addition to that, I have a 0, I have a 1, I have a plus, I have a dot, right? So any Boolean algebraic expression or equation, whatever it is, in general a function, right? I can express as a function of variables, maybe more than 2 variables also. Here I assume 2 variables x, y, they are complements, right? Then 0 is coming as a special, 0 is a constant actually, x, y, these things are variables, right? X, y, they are variables. Of course, they are complement also variables, right? But if you are looking at 0, 1, they are fixed value, right? They are constants. So, let me write here x, y, they are found to be variables. 0 and 1, they are found to be constants, right? Constants. And what about this plus and dot? That is our operator. Operators. So, that is how I am getting any Boolean algebraic expression. Now, the question is how to get the dual of this particular function or Boolean algebraic expression or equation. So, it is something applicable to everyone, like expression, equation, everywhere. So, let me denote the dual by, say, f raised to d. That is another function. This d corresponds to dual of f, right? See, x no change, y no change, x dash no change. So, in the given expression x, x dash, y dash, all those things keep as it is, but you have to change that 0 to 1. 1 has to be changed to 0. Now, plus is to be changed to dot. Dot is to be changed to plus. See, keep this in mind, right? It's very important. the only change is somewhere like this 0 changed to 1, this 1 changed to 0, plus changed to dot, and dot changed to plus. That is how you are getting a dual of a given expression, and don't do any change for these things. So they will be remaining as it is. Okay, hope it is clear. Now see, one second. Yeah. So that about dual of an expression. So keep that in mind, and wherever you are getting any Boolean algebraic theorem or postulate, you can see a counterpart. It's not counterpart, an equivalent dual of it. If that, if this A part is true, definitely B part is also true. You don't have to spend time on proving the B part. It's so we saw it, right. So this table itself is a proof. We can see that. So that about it. Now we are going to see how to prove the theorems. We observed many theorems, and you know the proof by means of truth table, which is a straightforward one. Can I have a different way of proving it? Okay. Some of the theorem from the textbook itself I taken the proof. You can observe them, and for later part you can directly use it. See, the basic theorem proving you might find slightly difficult, but in later on given any bigger expression simplification part, it will be very easy, because you are directly applying these theorems, because these things are fundamental, right. So we are trying to prove something very fundamental. So we have a slight difficulty, but that doesn't mean that later on we will struggle like that. Later on it is just application of these theorems, we will keep on simplifying. So that is a very interesting task, but at this point you have to observe how the theorem is being proved in a different way. We have to think slightly different, like how can I prove. You can try different method also. Different method also may work. This is something what is used in the textbook only. I listed here the way of proof technique. Same thing you might be able to prove in a different way also. If somebody is trying that way, you can discuss with me if you have any doubt. Okay. Okay. Anyway, let me explain what the procedure given in your textbook. See, what is the first one? This is, hope you remember what is this theorem. This is the idempotent law, right? Idempotent law. Idempotent law, I have an A part, I mean x plus x, and it's dual, right? That x dot x is equal to x. We will see why x plus x is x, right? You can, instead of truth table. So what I was doing is I am taking the LHS. That is x plus x. Then I am trying to reach the RHS. I am able to do that. Okay. Then what I am doing is this LHS, simply I am putting some bracket. Okay. Then I am multiplying it with 1. And you know why I did it. Any sub expression, anything, you can simply wherever you want, you can put a dot 1. There is no change for the value, because you know anything dot 1 is giving you that one. There is no change. So this x can be anything. So here instead of this x I am getting x plus x, right? Whatever it is, when you multiply it with 1, you are getting x itself. Multiply means here it is and operation. So what is this? This is our identity law, right? Identity law, and that is not a new theorem. This identity law is actually a basic requirement for the switching algebra, right? So identity law is something that should be true for any Boolean algebra. So that is why that is something very fundamental. We are directly using it to prove something new. So this idempotency was not a basic requirement. That is something happening for a Boolean algebra. So whenever I am having a Boolean algebra, it is holding idempotency law, but idempotency is not a mandatory thing for Boolean algebra. But identity law, or the presence of identity, is mandatory for Boolean algebra. So that is the postulate actually. Right, postulates by default it is holding, but this is a new theorem. That is something we are deriving or we are observing from the Boolean algebra. Okay, something like that. So by identity law, I got this, right. So I just wrote it. Now what I am doing is I am trying another postulate where I am replacing this one with the this one I am replacing with the x plus x dash, right. Can you tell me what is this? Here they are numbering the postulate, but you don't have to remember like that. Simply instead of postulate 2b, don't write like this. If you are writing like this, you have to say what is 2b, right? In exam, you have to write like by using identity law. If you are studying this concept using textbook also, you follow this procedure. Okay. So now tell me what is this law. Instead of this 5a, my opinion is don't use this. You can simply write identity law, okay, as a justification statement, right? So always keep this in mind. When it is exam, you have to provide justification for each and every line you are using, whether it is simplification or proving, whatever it is. That is very important. Now tell me, what is this? What I done is 1 I replaced with the x plus x complement. X plus x complement is 1, means the identity of dot. This is our complement law, right? Complement law. You can either write using complement law, or because x plus x dash is a 1. Anyways, it's better to give a name for it, okay, right? That about it. But in textbook it is fine, because this 2b 2a you can refer in the textbook what it is. It may be defined somewhere previously. We also seen like that, okay, but you don't have to remember like that. Now what I done is, like, it's interesting. It's very interesting. See, keep this in mind. X plus x into x plus x dash, what it is? X plus x into x plus x dash. This is x plus x dash. Actually, this is interesting. This is where this can anyone tell me? So it is difficult for you to come from this to this back, but you can go from x plus. If I am telling you what is x plus x dot x dash, you know what it is, right? Let me use something which you are knowing, like x plus x. See, x plus y z, what it is? Hope you know that distributive law. You can distribute it like x plus y into x plus z, right? Now what my question is, I am giving you the right hand side, like x plus y into x plus z, what it is, right? Now you have to know, this is something you are obtained by expanding this smaller expression. When it comes to simplification, we are always interested into smaller expressions. So distributed law, typically you have to apply in the opposite direction. So that is where it is having application. But we are studying the law in the forward direction, but the application is typically coming in the backward direction. So whenever you are having x plus y and x plus z, see, keep this in mind. Whenever I am having something like this x and x are find to be common, and plus some two things are coming. So this common thing you take out. This operator you maintain as it is, the plus or dot, whatever it is. Then the other two you group with the middle operator. Middle operator was dot. That dot is coming here, right? Hope it is clear now. So this we are applying in the opposite direction, right? Now same way, x plus x into x dash. Okay, now we will think. Okay, fine. This you know how to expand. Now the question is, what I am having is x plus x into x plus x dash. So this x is found to be common in both. Here I have something, here I have something different, maybe x dash or y and z, whatever it is. So what I can do is, I can take this x as common outside, and these two things I can multiply. Just like I taken this x outside and this y and z I multiplied and written like this. Is it clear? Still any doubt? You re-watch the video. This is very important, because this we will use many times future, right? Whenever there is simplification, see, observe this, whether this first part is same, then take it out, right? And the remaining two you combine. That's all. This you can do only if this first part is same. If it is different, don't do like this, okay? And this operator also has to be same. So right, that about it. So what law we applied is actually distributive law. By applying distributive law in the opposite direction, I got this, okay? See, I don't use this. Now can you tell me what is this? Again, this all these things are basic postulates only. This distributive law, complement law, identity law, we are not using something new, but now onward this is a new theorem. Later on we may be using this theorem, because we know its proof, right? So there is no problem with using it, as it is correct. Now tell me, what is x dot x dash? X dot x dash and x plus x dash, all those things are from complement law. Hope you remember. If this is dual of this, right? So this is also from complement law. Complement law, right? Now and finally, you know, x plus 0 is x. Again, what is this? X plus 0 is x. This is again our basic postulate, that is identity law. Identity law is simply write identity law. What is identity law? X plus 0 is x. We can either give the name or give an expansion for the law also. Like that you can give the justification. Is it clear now? Let me erase this. Okay, fine. That's all. right. And finally what happened is from LHS I reaches the RHS. I can stop it at this point. Now okay, hope it is clear. Now see its dual, how to prove this. So what happened here is again I started with the left hand side, right. Then what I done is like here I multiplied with 1, instead of that here I added 0. So it is also some kind of dual, you can visualize that dual thing is happening, dot become plus and 1 becomes 0, right. Then this 0 you can now you can write the reasons also, right. What I can do is I can erase this. Distributive law you keep in mind. What is distributive law? We are applying the distributive law in opposite direction. Okay, so that is very important, keep that in mind. Now tell me the justification for each. See what I done is this 0 I written like x dot x dash, because this also we are applying in the opposite direction actually, because what we know is like this is from anything you can add with a 0, the value remains same. That is our identity law, right. Identity law itself, the type of law we applied is x plus 0 is x. Okay. Now what we observed is the complement x dot x dash is equal to 0. So that 0 we replaced with x dot x dash, that is our complement law. So give justification like this, don't do this. Now the distributivity again I applied, like I taken so just like this here, this x is getting common, right. So take that x out, and what is the operator immediately after x? That is 1, to put that dot. Now group the remaining one, that is x and x dash, but now the middle one will be plus, just the opposite thing will happen. Hope it is clear, and finally you are getting this. So this is by distributivity. Okay, I just thought of supplementing it. I just want to write distributivity important, because it is very important. Okay, so what we know is actually x plus xy is equal to sorry, not xy, x plus yz is equal to x plus y into x plus z. Okay, now you have to apply the opposite thing, like if I am having x plus y into x plus z, how can I minimize it, right? How can I reach the left hand side, the other side? So what observation you have to make is whether this x and x are same, and what is the operator coming here, right? Accordingly what you have to do, the right hand side, that common thing you put like this, this operator you put like this. Okay, now what remains? What remains is my y remains and z remains, and in between what is coming? That dot. So y and z you group like this, y z. So you are getting this expression back. Okay, x plus y z, right? Hope it is clear. In a similar way we have the dual of this theorem, that is x dot y plus z. This plus and dot will change, that's all. 0 and 1 will also change if it is there, but here it is not there. So you can distribute it like a xy plus xz, something like this, x and y, then x and z, like that. Or simply this bracket you can write like this also, xy plus xz. Now you may be wondering, is it correct? There is something called precedence, right? And the multiplication always having higher precedence than addition, right? Instead of multiplication here I have a and. So and operation is having higher precedence than or. That precedence order we will see. As of now you can remember like a and operation has higher precedence than or. Maybe same thing you know from that proportional logic also, right? Now the question is, if I am having something like a xy plus xz, how can I simplify it? Again keep this in mind. See, the common part, x should be coming as common, take it out. Now immediately after x, what is the operator coming? Dot. Put that dot here, bracket, right? This one. Now what remains? What remains is our y remains and z remains, right? and the middle operator also, that is plus, that is y plus z. Here it was like a middle operator was dot, that is why I written like y dot z, right? So hope you know the translation. See, it is very very important. And what is this? How to apply distributive law. Distributive law, I think all of you are comfortable with the forward direction. Now you should be comfortable with the backward direction also. So given any expression, this should go through your mind whether I have to apply the backward or the forward direction, right? Accordingly you do it. See, that's all. So we are at this point, and what we observed is here I can use the distributive law, right? Now the same thing, the last thing, that x is coming here, now it is clear, right? Dot dot is coming, grouping, and what remains, x and x dash, and the middle one, that is plus, right? Now x plus x dash, again x plus x dash is equal to 1, the same thing, right? It's a dual, so that is also complement law. Complement law. And this is something, now again x dot 1, what is x dot 1 is x, what is this? Identity law, identity law, right? So using that I am able to reach the right answers. That proves our theorem. And you can see that, see, the theorems are duals of each other, and also the each and every steps you applied in the proof, that also dual of each other. So you simply study this proof, you can prove it easily. If it is exam, prove both of them, simply prove it and take its dual step by step. Don't apply your brain, you will get this proof, okay? Each and every step in the proof technique is also dual. Simply from on, if this proof is valid, right, definitely this will be valid. You can simply change it to the other proof by taking dual of each and every sub steps, okay? Hope it is clear. We will see subsequent theorems and more thing about it in the next video.